I refused to share my inheritance with my step-siblings. Story. I, a 17-year-old male, will be coming into a large amount of money when I turn 18. This is money that my mom, who died when I was 7, and my maternal grandparents accumulated for me since I was born. I won't say the exact amount, but it's between $500,000 and $1 million. My grandparents ran a successful business for many years, and they sold it 18 months ago, and all money from that sale went to me. They kept none of it. My grandparents have control over all of it currently. Before my mom died, she left them in charge of the account where she was saving. She was married to my dad at the time, but had wanted to secure my future in case anything happened, like dad remarrying and having additional kids. She didn't want to run the risk that once she was gone, her money could be used for someone who wasn't her kid. My dad knew some money had been saved for me by mom, but was never aware of how much or little it was. He also had no idea my grandparents continued saving for me. My grandparents told me about the money over a year ago. They wanted me to prepare for my future and to know I would have so many options because of the money available to me. They also mentioned it never brought back my mom, but could alleviate the burden of becoming an adult. So here's the deal. My dad did remarry. He has a stepdaughter, 16, and a son, 5, with his current wife. They are not wealthy, and my dad's wife has prepared her daughter to try and work hard for scholarships and financial aid to get into college because she wants to study to become a lawyer, I think. My dad had similar conversations with me and had sat me down a few times since I learned of the money's existence to figure out what our plans would be. Eventually, I told him it wasn't going to be a big concern, and I told him about the money. He was like, WTF. And then he told his wife, and they apparently went WTF together, and told me I could be gracious and split the money when I get it between the 3 of us, and give the other 2 a chance to have a decent helping hand with college. I told them I would not be sharing it because it was created by my family, not theirs. Dad's wife argued that it would be incredibly selfish to take such a large amount of money and blow it all on myself when I have 2 siblings who could also benefit in major ways from it. My dad told me that even giving some of it to them, not a full split, but some money I have left at the end, would be amazing and would help my family out a lot. I told him I wasn't going to. They are so not happy with me. They told me that being selfish with this is not a good way to be. My dad is also pissed that he continued saving for me and dividing things equally between the 3 of us when I have so much I'll have access to in a few months. Am I an a-hole? Response 1. Not the a-hole. Their reaction is exactly why your mom set it up how she did. She knew your dad well enough to know the money would not be yours and used for children that are not hers. Reply 1. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking after the pressure campaign started. It was like, wow, mom sure did know what could happen, and she was right. Reply 2. Spot on. Exactly the reason. It is not selfish for you to keep a gift that your mother and grandparents gave to you alone. You're also not your siblings' parents and are not responsible for providing for them. If you do feel inclined to make a compromise, maybe you forgo the money that your dad has saved for you, which he might resent anyway since it's still his money. But you are not obligated to share the inheritance. Reply 3. This is true. Your mom left it for you, not anyone else. If you want to go to college, you can pay for it yourself. You could also use half to invest during college, and when you graduate, you could have money for a house of your own. Think of it this way. If you use your head and make good choices, you might never have to rely on your dad and his wife ever again. Reply 4. I mean, it's not like the dad cheated on her. Why wouldn't she want him to move on and be happy? Why would there be this big thing about, I only want to help my blood? If I was the mom, I would have left the money to my husband, whom I supposedly loved, to help him be happy and move on with whatever life he could lead after I died. If that includes him finding/creating a new family, that's great. It can help them as well as my blood relatives. Unless the dad is an a-hole who doesn't deserve that, then I'm going to say OP and the mum are kind of the a-hole. Response 2, not the a-hole. For future reference, don't tell anybody else about your money. Reply 1, I wasn't planning to. The only reason I told my dad is it was difficult to explain why I didn't need to do certain things when I supposedly had very little money at my disposal for college. Reply 2. All you should have said is that your grandparents would be helping you out as best they could. Then after you left for college, return the amount your dad saved for you, but still not tell them how much you actually had. Now that they know, they will all hound about bills, cars, house payments, house repairs, etc. Reply 3. Not the a-hole at all. I come from a blended family, step-siblings, half-siblings, all of the above. I don't think of my step-siblings as separate from me or my family. However, their mom and their mom's side of the family owe me nothing at all. If my stepbrother and sister received some sort of inheritance, I would be happy for them. Probably a little jealous, but never in a million years would I expect them to share. Your mom was smart to plan for your future, regardless of what happened with your dad. You don't owe your step-siblings anything, and it's ridiculous that your dad expects you to. Response 3. Not the a-hole. This money was saved by your mom and grandparents to set you up in life. This money will get you through university and beyond. Your stepmom should have made provisions for her children. It is not up to you to provide for them. Stick to your guns and lead the life your mom wants for you. Reply 1. She has been saving for her kids, but does not have access to the same kind of money that my grandparents did, and she's working on figuring out the best way for my stepsister to go to college like she wants. But I still say, like you do, that it's not my job to take care of it. Reply 2. Well, adulting is solving your own problems. Did she get pregnant? Got kids? Raised them without your help? Lucky her. Woo, kudos, karma to her, and so on. I bet $1 billion that sucking money out of OP was not her plan on how I raise my kids. So it's her own problems, how she educated her daughter, how she buys her a car, an apartment, or a boob job. As of now, she thinks your mom and your grandparents worked hard to pay for not their child. She is ridiculous and needs therapy. Reply 3. Life's opportunities aren't equal, and your dad and stepmother just have to accept that. Your having money doesn't guarantee success, and your step-siblings' lack of it doesn't mean failure. In the end, you make your own future. Honor your mom by using the fund for your future. Honor your grandparents by being responsible financially. Tell your parents the money is not yours to give. Not the a-hole. Reply 4. As others have said, do not tell anyone you have this money. Once friends or relatives know how much you have, they will constantly hound you for money. And the friendship or relationship won't be based on mutual respect and valuing you as a person. When you get into a relationship, don't spend a load of money on the girl. Just act like a normal person your age. You don't want someone with you simply because of the money. Also, when you own a house or other assets and have a relationship, get them to sign a legal document drawn up by your solicitor that says they will make no claim on your property should you split up. Because if you live together for a period of time and split, they can sometimes claim part ownership if they've paid into the house. So if they contribute, they should only contribute towards utility bills and groceries, or TV subscriptions, etc. Not pay rent, etc. But speak to a lawyer to protect your assets before someone moves in with you to cover all bases. And obviously, it goes without saying, if you get married, get a prenup to protect your finances and property, etc. Don't let love fool you, because you never know what may happen in the future, and you don't want to risk losing it to an ex. Reply 5. That's all correct. I also want to suggest to you that while the amount of money you've mentioned is large and will change your life, it doesn't make you filthy rich. You may be able to buy a house with it, though in many places you'd still need to get a mortgage depending on the size of the house. You may be able to pay for college up front, but you'll still need to expect to work for the rest of your life. Be cautious and strategic with your planning and spending of that money. Response 4. Not the a-hole. Your situation is what your late mother guarded against by leaving it to your maternal grandparents to manage the money. She foresaw it happening. You are not obliged to help your step-siblings at all. You are not selfish at all. Now the cat is out of the bag. Let your dad know that your mother foresaw what he will do. Wait, no. Get your maternal grandparents to tell it to his face that they are acting as the controllers. This should get him to back off. Money is always needed, and there's never enough to go around. $500K to $1 million is not enough to last you a whole lifetime at the current inflation rate, but it's enough to give you a very good head start planning your future into a comfortable retirement or for any emergency. Reply 1. Also, please don't burn through that legacy. People who, for example, win the lottery almost always think that it is impossible to go broke again, and within a couple of years, they are even worse off than before their win. Reply 2. Yes. OP, when you come into that money, please see a financial consultant. They will advise the best way to invest it, including allocations for college life. That money can make you more and more and make your entire future so much easier. Response 5. Not the a-hole, but ask your grandparents to put it in a trust until you are 25, and definitely out of your father's house. The trust can pay for college and give you an allowance for other things, but have them or someone else, trustee, sign off on it so your dad can't access it. As you are only 17, he might try to take control. Have your grandparents take away that ability. Reply 1. I really wish this was number 1. Even if you get in money trouble before 25, that's enough to wipe it all out. Even if you were going to do something good with the money, like buy a house, there's no way you'll still like the house you bought at 20 when you're 25. It's such a different world after a couple of years. Really sucks that they're giving you full access at 18. Please make smart decisions. This could set you up for life if done right. Reply 2. Absolutely this comment. Set up a trust. Also, make sure that those funds are put to use in safe investments like GICs. You might be surprised at how far that goes to offset your education costs in the end. Do not let your dad or other kids get their hands on money that is rightfully yours unless you absolutely wish to be benevolent and help them out. Only do so out of the kindness of your heart, not because you were coerced to. Best of luck to you, kid. Reply 3. This $500K to $1 million sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But it's not enough money to never worry about money for the rest of your life. For context, they say people retiring today need $2 million in savings in order to have a comfortable retirement. Here's what I would do if I were OP. I'd go to a good public university and live frugally. Not poverty level, but not blowing money either. For 4 years, that'll be about 100 cal to 150 calories. Next, I'd set aside 100 calories for a house. If you put it in index funds now and buy a house when you're 25 or 30, then you'll have between 131 calories and 160K to buy your first house. In some very low cost of living areas, you could buy a home in cash at that price, especially if you can go with a condo or mobile home. In a medium cost of living area, that's a nice down payment on a conventional loan. In the San Francisco Bay Area, it would be about the minimum down payment for a conventional loan. If you plan to buy in an ultra-high cost of living area like San Francisco or Toronto, I'd set aside more than 100 calories for this purpose. We've used 250 calories of the original money now. Assuming that the number OP actually got is 500 calories, we have 250 gal left. If you put that in a retirement account at 18 and don't touch it until age 67, it'll have grown to 641 calories, which will give you a retirement income of about 2 calories per month. Personally, that's what I would do. Use your mom's family's money to secure your future. Once you're out of college and making your own income, you'll still want to save for retirement, but you'll have a head start. If you have extra income, then that's when I'd help out your siblings financially if they need it. Response 6. You aren't blowing your money. He seems to have the idea that this money would be wasted if it's not spent on your stepsister and half-brother. And your brother is 5 Eve. Plenty of time for his parents to save for him. Not the a-hole. Reply 1. Did they notice it took OP's mom dying to get this money? How obtuse can they be? You know what's selfish? Greedy wants an orphaned kid to give up their college money to kids who already have 2 sets of parents who are able to save up for them. OP, tell your parents that if they are so concerned for their child's future, they should start saving for them. Jesus Christ. Response 7. Not the a-hole, and your dad is an a-hole for asking you to. I do get that he's upset that he saved for you in addition though, so I would understand if the money he saved up for you went to his other children instead. even if you're entitled to 1/3. I believe this is something your grandparents and your dad need to discuss. It's not something a 17-year-old should deal with alone. But the money after your mom is yours, not theirs, and they have no right to it. Reply 1. The dad can be slightly happy that the money he saved doesn't need to be split 3 ways anymore. OP is helping out by not being dependent on family. She may have been slightly the a-hole if she'd left her parents struggling to fund her when she didn't need it, but she hasn't. Response 8. Not the a-hole. The money was for you. If your stepmother keeps bothering you and you don't care about going nuclear, tell her that to make it fair. She needs to leave all her money to her kids and drop dead. Then you'll all be equal. Also, tell your maternal grandparents ASAP about the pressure they're putting on you. Tell the grandparents that you do not and will not consent to sharing a dime. This will prevent your father from lying to them and saying you totally agreed to divvy up the money. Reply 1. My grandparents would never give it to him anyway without hearing it directly from me. There's a reason they didn't tell him the money existed after all. Reply 2. As someone else has said, you might consider having a trust set up, managed by your grandparents, until you're a bit older, so they can make sure that it only gets used for your benefit and that your parents don't pressure you into using it for anything else. Having that much money at 18 is a big responsibility, and I wouldn't underestimate the likelihood of you caving into other people's requests, and B, the likelihood of you making bad decisions with it. 18 is an adult, and I don't want to suggest otherwise. I'm saying this to protect you. But it's still awfully young to have that sort of responsibility. I know I would have done stupid things with that sort of money at that age. Reply 3. When you're 18, as it is set up now, it appears the money becomes yours. Will it be easier for your dad to exert control over you and convince you to share the money? If this is a possibility, definitely consider setting up a trust with your grandparents that gives them control until you are 25. They and you can use the money for school and living and investing, but the trust would give you an added layer of protection from someone who wants to use the money your mom planned for and saved, the same thing your stepmother is doing, for others rather than for you as planned. Response 9. Not the a-hole. It's not your responsibility to financially provide for your siblings' college education. That job belongs to their parents. Your mom and grandparents did this to set you up for your future, and your dad is a massive a-hole for even considering asking you to share. Response 10. Here we go again. Hell no, not sharing. You are not selfish. You are not a dad and married to a new wife with 2 kids. You can choose to leave home and avoid the BS. Go to uni and enjoy life, but be careful with spending. Money is a very toxic topic, as you learned. Do not show off. Bad people will come to you. Not the a-hole. Your money is not bringing luck to the stepkids. They need to learn the value of money. Response 11. Not the a-hole. Talk to a financial advisor and your grandparents about being able to set yourself up before you have full access to your money so that you cannot be pressured into giving any away. As someone else said above, do not tell anyone else about your inheritance, while your mother and grandparents have given you a great start. Without the proper planning, it will be gone very quickly if you do not have a plan. Sorry for your loss, and please use this opportunity to set up your future. Reply 1. Maybe contact credit bureaus so no one can take out credit cards in your name. A financial advisor can help you with this. Be sure the financial advisor is a fiduciary. Your grandparents seem to be pretty knowledgeable about business and money, so they might be able to help with these things. And yes, make a will ASAP. Response 12. More information needed. How do you feel about your half-step siblings? Would you like going to college to be easier for them? You certainly don't have to give them anything, but it will affect the relationship if they know you can and choose not to. But it's your decision to make, not your dad's. Reply 1. If they would alter the relationship, because they couldn't have his dead mom's money, they wouldn't be worth having in his life anyway. Reply 2. It's not that simple. It'd be hard not to be upset that a family member has the ability to easily help you with little impact to themselves, but refuses to. Story time. My father wrote me out of his will. Why? Because 4 years ago, I put him on his ass after he, unprovoked, attacked me and threatened to hit my then 4-year-old. He has some kind of undiagnosed mental health issue, and this was one of several incidents like this. Before this, my dad had willed me everything, excluding my half-brother. It's a complicated story. I thought this was unfair, and I always intended to give my brother half, not something I shared with our father. As I understand it, my brother stands to inherit everything, substantial assets. I will never ask for anything, but if my brother doesn't split the inheritance with me, we'll no longer have a relationship. It's not about greed, but loyalty. Reply 3: Yeah, I was thinking the same. It sounds like OP's dad cares about him, and I haven't seen anything to indicate he has a bad relationship with his stepmom and siblings. Families with fewer means tend to rely more on communal effort and sort of expect everyone to group resources. That isn't good or bad. OP should decide if he actually likes his family. It is his money for sure, but depending on how he handles this, it could really burn bridges. Reply 4: This is my thinking. Maybe a financial planner can help determine how much they can afford to share with their siblings, whom I assume they care about, to help them get ahead a little bit, but while still optimizing the gift that was left behind from their grandparents. Maybe it's the socialist in me, but even a relatively small amount, e.g. a semester of college, would still be a huge gift to their siblings/stepmom and can help the entire family move ahead financially. I have half siblings, and this would be my approach. In fact, my late adopted grandparents helped me a little bit, same as their biological grandkids, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Reply 5. Finally, a comment more in the direction I was thinking. Like, sure, legally OP can keep all the money all to himself. Financially, not even $1 is that much when you need to pay 100s for college, and depending on where you live, it might not even be enough to buy a house. Now, emotionally, I understand the mom's thinking, but the case is that the rest of OP's life was with another family, with a step-sibling his age, whom he met while they were both kids, and another that was born into this new family. If this new family turned out well, with step-siblings and mom-kids loving each other, I wouldn't expect a loving brother to say, well, this is what my late mom wanted, because the situation has changed over the last 10 years. A lot of people are saying, see, the dad is exactly what OP's mom expected him to be. But all I read is a caring dad who saved all his life to give OP and his other kids a better future, and encouraged OP to take further steps to ensure what his savings couldn't, and then being hurt that OP is so selfish and doesn't give a S about his siblings. Again, this all depends on the relationship of OP with his step-siblings and stepmom, but the post does not indicate any bad blood. Whatever the case, it's really sad how money can so rapidly turn people, especially family, against each other. Response 13. Very clearly not the a-hole, but now that your dad knows about the money, your relationship with him has forever changed. It was a mistake in telling him, and I'm not sure why you did. I understand that you're young, but you cannot be ignorant of your environment. It's clear you knew your stepsister and brother weren't going to have the same benefits as you. I'm sure your stepsister will become a lawyer with or without your help, if that's what she wants. Just like you may or may not make sound financial decisions with that money. That money is yours, and I hope that you make peace with your dad. Reply 1. I told him because of the discussions we were having about college and getting me set up to go. He kept asking why I wasn't doing certain things and why I wasn't concerned that I wouldn't be able to afford to go, and I told him it was because I didn't need to worry. Reply 2. He was always going to worry because he is your dad, and from the sounds of it, you don't miraculously have a large amount of cash lying around from a job. He probably thought you were doing something illegal if you didn't have a scholarship. He seems like a caring father who wants to make sure you will be okay. The usual reciprocal thing would be to make sure your dad is okay. Doesn't seem like you have a relationship with the second wife and siblings. Are you being pressured to stay with your dad? May as well bail to your grandparents. This time is not going to be pretty. It's going to get resentful pretty quickly. Reply 3. This is a lot of money for sure, but it's not enough to do you for life if you don't have a career. Make sure you still plan for a future income, study, and do the very best you can at school and college. Also, be wary of gold diggers from everywhere. Future partners may not be honest, and people have ways of finding out things, so don't assume they will be unaware of your finances. Response 14. Not the a-hole. And honestly, ask your grandparents to still be beneficiaries in the account. Don't let it all be on you. You are still young, and I'm not doubting how responsible you actually are. You might get pressured a lot to give that money. If your grandparents also must have a say in it, and all parties, you grandparents, must agree before a large sum of money, i.e. college funds, buying a car, a house, etc., gets taken out, it will make your dad and stepmom rethink twice before asking for money. Your mom was a smart cookie. Good for her for saving that money, and well done to your grandparents for giving you that much money. Response 15. Not the a-hole. You yourself said it. Your mom created the account to protect your future in case your dad remarried and had other children. She did not want her money to go to children that were not hers. Stand your ground. Your dad and his wife need to back off. The money is from the maternal side of your family, and it is none of their business. If your stepsister needs help with uni, her mother should be getting that help from her father or his family. You might want to think about moving in with your grandparents or moving out to uni ASAP. It sounds like they will continue to try and browbeat or guilt you into parting with your inheritance. Response 16. Not the a-hole, but your dad and stepmom are huge a-holes. It's your money. Your mom and grandparents saved up for you, not for your half-brothers. If you're coming into that much money, maybe you can tell them that the money he saved up for you, I guess in a different account, could go towards your half-siblings. Don't let them guilt-trip you into giving away your inheritance. Maybe even talk to your parents to help you manage the money after you turn 18 as well, because you will be tempted to buy anything and everything. And a piece of advice for the future: don't tell people about how much money you have. Response 17. Sounds like your mom had the right idea about leaving your grandparents in charge of your money. She obviously knew your dad very well. This is your money, saved by your mom and her parents. Tabah, I doubt your grandparents will be pleased if you share their hard-earned money with your stepsister and half-brother. Your stepmom should have started putting money away for her daughter years ago. Even if it was only a few dollars a month in a savings account, it would have built up. They are totally wrong for expecting you to finance her kid and your half-brother. I'd also tell your dad exactly why your mom and grandparents did it this way. She knew what he'd do, and he did it. You could possibly give them a couple of $1,000 to help start them off just to shut them up, but you don't have to. Don't be guilted or blackmailed into sharing. What you can tell your dad and stepmother is they don't have to continue saving for you, if they were, and just concentrate on your siblings. Not the a-hole at all.